Behind the scenes of the Cultural Center shows and events are the stream of thought conversations and passing thoughts in the Buffeteria among the CCP staff and its many talents. These are the Buffeteria Conversations.
Are we only meant to entertain, or are we meant for other greater things?
As we enter the season of suffrage in 2022, let's ponder how art plays into the changing of social paradigms. What is art for social change?
Hi, today I brought a tapsilog. Walang kamatayang tapsilog. This is actually from Rody. It's not an endorsement. Noong 1986, ito yung natatandaan ko kasi nagre-rehearse kami. I was just part of the ensemble, so pero nagkakagulo na nun eh. Because that was in February, we were rehearsing. And so anyway, but ito totoo naman to for all rehearsals and theater people in general. Pagkatapos ng rehearsal, kailangan kumain kasi hindi ka pa kumakain. So usually, at the end of the rehearsal, we will always look for a tapsilogan. You know, after rehearsal, mga 10, 11, ganyan. And so usually we end up with katipunan. Kaya nung inimbita ko for this talk, yun yung naalala ko with 1986.
Ako naman, pistachio nuts. Ayan. Sa isang hand-painted Moroccan dish. Ganda, no? Ito mo, oh, ganda. Kikita ba? Ayun. Wala lang. Wala namang ibig sabihin yun. Para sa akin. Mahilig sa pistachio nuts. Panahon pa ng dictatorship. Oh, hindi ba? Binigyan ng mini.
Winner! Rody, ikaw mauna.
Ako muna. Ako, mahaba yung kwento ko eh.
Oo, okay yun. Kasi
Hindi, kasi
more to the senior citizen.
nahiya ka. Kasi naman, lumaki ako sa mundo ng theater. Yun ang aking art na pinili, art field na pinili. Well, pinili niya ako kasi at a very young age, I wrote my very first play sa San Beda na second year high school. And at that time, I don't know, I guess because my sisters were also activists during the pre-martial law days. And, you know, nakikita ko sila nagpipikit sa harap ng Malacanang kasi dun kami malapit sa Malacanang nakatira. So, and then I go to San Beda and so my very first play na sinulat, which was already deep in the martial law era, was something about the educational system. So, immediately, maski yung play na yon na sinulat ko, it was kind of controversial to the point na yung admin hindi nila ito pinayagang ipalabas sa lahat, no? So pumili lang sila ng ilang sections para ipalabas yung play na sinulat ko, and it was my first play. So unang-unang play ko, medyo may censorship nang nangyayari. So ganun ang pagkamulat ko sa play. And I guess when I was introduced into theater, ang actually nag-attract sa akin doon ay yung kanyang pagiging in one way rebellious sa mga conventional ideas, no? In fact, ang pagkakaintindi ko nga sa play noon, ang play pala dapat ay absurd kasi that was my first exposure to really watching a play, no? Yung mga plays ni Regio de la Cruz sa UP, Samascom noon. So, yun. So, and then I went into PETA, so that even got, you know, mas na-confirm yung ganung assumptions ko because PETA at that time, I guess until now, saw theater as, you know, as a means for social change, for social emancipation, and therefore it really delves in politics. So yung commitment ko dun sa theater, antimano sa simula pa lang, hindi ko siya maisip na hindi maging political. Kahit na halimbawa merong time na kailangan gawing mas subtle or gawing mas hindi naman kinakailangan out and out political. I cannot view the works that I do, no matter how less political they may seem, without situating it in my mind in its political and historical and social context. So, ibig sabihin, hindi naman lahat ng mga sinulat ko ay tungkol doon. Kung hindi, lahat ng sinusulat ko sa konteksto, sa aking pananaw, whether or not makita to ng audience, in a specific social, historical, and political context.
When you make art, you make choices as an artist, as a director, as a playwright, ano yung susulat mo, etc. So the moment you make choices, that already in itself is political, because it will reflect something about you, diba? Whether it's your educational background, your religion, etc. So, ang hirap nga i-define na meron bang hindi political sa art when you talk about art. Kasi iba namang usapin yung whether it's good or bad art. But the term political is just so broad. That's how I understand it. Whenever you make a choice, it's a reflection of something. A value system, an ideology, a philosophy. Kahit yung yung pagpili ng where you gonna present, yung performance. Kalye ba? Sa CCP ba? Diba? Sa Intramuros ba? Etc. So, hindi lang siya isang bagay. It's a complex web of choices.
And at the same time, even the art, even in philosophical terms, hindi ba? Sabi nga nila, everything that is made public will necessarily be political. Alam nga naman mag-theater ka sa sarili mo mag-isang walang nanonood, no? The very fact na merong manonood niyan, then immediately it becomes public. And therefore, once it becomes public, hindi mo maiiwasang hindi ito maging political. Pag sinabi ko yun, hindi yung sabihin yung in the sense ng politician or politicizing, hindi. No? It just means that it will necessarily have to be put in a context that has political undertones or outright political context.
Like, probably all of us, ang introduction ko sa theater dramatics, di ba yung sa school, may gagawin kang mag-drama kayo using una yan, yung poem, di ba, declamation, gano'n. And sa akin, ang influence ko, it was not theater per se, but TV, pelikula. Yun ang entrance ko talaga. So, I really wanted to be a film. I thought I wanted to be in film nung pag-enter ng college. So yung mga ginagawa kong dramatics nung high school mostly, ito yung tipong may konting knowledge, ibang adana, kasi diba yun yung mga required readings sa high school. And then, they will ask, your teacher will ask you to do something creative. So, gusto ko yun. So, even sa English classes. So, novels naman. No, but hindi pa talaga plays. Yung may konting Shakespeare. So, in high school, may Shakespeare. Anyway, siguro pinaka-memorable, yung talagang exposure ko sa theater, unang memorable exposure ko sa theater would be, ito yung naalala ko, yung malaking impact sa Ramahari, yung original na Ramahari na musical that was produced by Ballet Philippines, CCP. Filipino siya, diba? But in a sense, but I was so enamored by everything. The way they did it, the libretto, yung tumatak sa akin, ang ganda ng lyrics nito. I didn't even know Bienvenido Vera then. But ang ganda yung naiintindihan ko, pero ang lalim-lalim yung lyrics, and ang ganda ng music. Didn't know Ryan Kayab then, but he said, How beautiful. And then yung idea na magkasama yung merong nagsasalita na actors, and then may and sila yung kumakanta, and then may hiwalay na sumasayaw lang sila. That was so new to me and novel. So I probably watched that production several times, no? Yung original, and then na-revive pa siya. Binabalikan ko siya talaga. Yun. So yung musical, that musical. But then at the same time, sa dyaryo, may mababasa-basa na ako na meron daw play na ganito somewhere. So, aayain ko yung older brother ko. Dalhin mo ako dito, gusto kong panoorin ko. So, si Rolando Ting, kay Rolando Ting, siya nag-direct or play niya. Ganyan. And then, these were the short plays na some of them were translations na sabi ko, medyo strange tong na to. Itong play na to. Ito yung mga The Chairs. Yung kalbo, soprano kalbo, yung gano'n. Or sa Tuwagang Gantimpala. No? So, may political, hindi ko alam yun at that time, but they were not just entertainment. I wasn't very conscious of it, but I just felt they were different and I liked them a lot. So, choosing a course in college, wala pang film, major nun sa UP, early 83. So, the closest was, nakita ko may theater arts. That's why I chose it. So yun, of course, ang main ko dun si Tony Mabesa, na hindi siya known as a very political director, but he would do plays that had, social issues. Hindi naman, again, di ba, pangit to just define something na it's just about Marcos or this or that. Yun naman yung na-discover ko na mahirap to just, yung parang ikakahon mo yung mga ginagawa mo. Kasi wala ka namang play na, lahat naman ng play may intersecting themes. No? Hindi lang isa lang ang theme. Unless it's so bad. Unless it's propaganda na it's, just black and white. Pero ganon. So sa dun na palang namulat. So medyo late bloomer ako sa theater. Hindi ako activista the way Rody is. But, I was very interested in a lot of things. So, a good part of that was really finding out what I really like in terms of content and form. But it was also very important to me to learn the craft really well because I was interested in directing. So, alam ko na yung director siya yung nagde-decide ng madaming bagay. So, craft is so important to me as well.
Ang boring naman kung lagi na lang tungkol sa overtly political issues. At gusto kong kasing ipagsabihin na yung mga napapanood ko at saka yung mga sinusulat ko, merong or any art form for that matter. Pwede mo sabihin that there are some that are really overtly political because they are tackling specific issues, no, that we are very familiar with, or na nakikita natin yung current events, etc. May mga ganon. Pero meron din namang mga dula na akala mo hindi political pero nasa interpretation, no. So ibig sabihin, for example, si Shakespeare, when Shakespeare did Macbeth in Elizabethan era, hindi naman niya alam na gagamitin niya ng peta as a way of showing their protest against the military dictatorship of Marcos. No? And all of a sudden, when we staged Macbeth, alam ng mga nanonood na yung aming pinatatamaan ay isang diktador na may asawang weng-wang, no, na si Lady Macbeth, no. So Macbeth was a political play even at that time, diba? But then I don't think Shakespeare was, at that time when he wrote it, he wasn't taking a pot shot against the king na kanyang sinusulat, diba? So, iba-iba siya, no? Pwede mo siyang gawing political. And then at the same time, I've seen several plays of Macbeth versions that are, yes, still nakikita mo na tungkol pa rin yun sa political tyranny, etc., etc. But then somehow, the way it is interpreted, the way it is staged, maski yung point of view ng pagkakadirect, parang removed doon sa political situation. Parang wala kang maramdamang urgency, for example, ng political situation na ginagalawan ng mga tao nung time or maski dito sa panahon ngayon na pinapanood mo. So, napaka-complex nun eh. Ibig sabihin, hindi naman ganun ka, ito gagawin natin political, ito hindi. Hindi ko makita yung ganun. Dalawang bagay yan. Kasi, number one, yun yung sa gumagawa, no, the creative team that does it may have certain political motives for why they're doing it, or they may not. Pwede rin hindi, di ba? Sinasabi nila, do nothing political about it. But when you show it, suddenly, yung nanonood can impute political ideas into it by the very fact that it is being apolitical. Di ba? Ano ba yan? Walang kakwenta-kwenta yan. Puro ganyan, kayo ganyan. Samantalang sa labas, ang tayo nagugutom. Ayan. Suddenly, hindi pwedeng hindi yun yung sinasabi ko. Hindi pwedeng hindi mo maihiwalay sa vacuum. Kasi nasa isang lipunan tayo kung saan we live, breathe, eat politics. Lalo pa dito sa Pilipinas, ang lapit-lapit talaga. Di ba?
Wala akong ma-cite na sa film, di ba? Wala akong ma-cite na any work of art. At the moment, wala. Na, kung sabi mo, hindi siya related to some kind of politics. No? Kasi nga, it's always any choice is a reflection of something. Kahit porn. Diba, Rody? Ewan ko, di ba?
No.
Even even mga, when you say, kunyari, children's plays, diba? Parang typically, isipin mo, children's plays, pambata yan, and so, feel good, values, ganyan ba ito? Exactly. Diba? There's certain values na yung, ano man yung gusto mo i-inculcate sa audience mo. That's already political. That is something. So, parang to me, it's not useful to even go there. Kasi nga, ano nga ba? But, diba, parang I have to twist my brain just to think of, siguro pag nakaharap ko na siya, and ito siguro yung right now, wala akong naisip na gano'n. Kahit ang sabihin mo, ginawa ko siya dahil ang ganda ng gumawa musical kasi ang saya niya. Ano ba? Kunwari Cats. Anong tingin mo sa Cats? Rody? Ano ba yan? No politics? Parang meron pa rin because there is a kingdom there. Diba? So, it's just not explicitly about human beings, but diba, there's a symbol, there are symbols everywhere. Kaya nga, you need to know how to read the signs. Then, ano ba yung dating, at saka iba nga ang dating niyan for different people. So, maybe wala kang intention to provoke, pero you end up getting a lot of people angry or really inspired. So, that's really beyond. And that's the magic of art, diba? That at some point, you're really just offering something to the public, and it's really up to them how they wanna consume that or understand it or appreciate it, etc.
The mere fact na di ba, when you say apolitical, the mere fact that you're using that word, it means you're conscious of its absence. Or, so ibig sabihin, hindi pwedeng hindi talaga. Kasi when you say that this particular work is apolitical, from a different perspective, it's being apolitical makes it political. Sabihin, di ba? Kumbaga, it's an against you. Ikaw, wala kang kaalam-alam sa mundo. You're up there in the clouds, no? So even in maaring yung artist, conscious siya talaga or very cautious siya na gagawa siya apolitical. But when it gets to the critic, then yun nga sinasabi ko, when you make it public, then yun yung sinasabi ni Breck, di ba? Si Breck, sabi niya, he came out with this book of poems and he said, my poems are private, but my plays are public. And so therefore, necessarily, political yung masusulat niya because they are public. And yung poetry niya, some of them when you read, parang talaga minsan navel gazing. Pero, that they are private, it's because it wasn't really meant to be perceived by a public. But of course, ngayon, dahil patay na siya, pinublish na.
Depende sa ginagawa ko. Sometimes the author is very dead. Sometimes hindi.
Deadening.
Kunyari, si Rody, mga trabaho namin, isang tawag lang yan, email, ganyan. Pag ayoko pansinin yung sinasabi ni Rody, medyo dead siya sa akin, dine-dead siya. Hindi ko gusto yung ayaw palitan, ayaw i-revise ni Rody yung gusto ko i-revise. Dead na si Rody.
You also have to situate yung number one, lalong-lalo na kasi nanonood ka ano yung naging significance nito? Ano yung naging hindi ko naman sinasabing lahat kailangan may significance sa politics, kundi sa buhay mo, no, bilang tao, bilang mamamayan. Parang gano'n. At kahit naman ang kagandahan, no, probably in its purest sense, will have a political significance for you as a person, as a human being.
To me, kaya napaka-importante ng art in education. That from a very young age dapat na-expose at may opportunity ang kabataan pa lang, diba? O sa bahay pa lang kahit hindi sila nag-aaral na, they're really exposed to a wide variety of art, culture, no? And may understanding, merong yung attempt, whether it's the parents or yung teachers, no, na mahubog sila so that later on, diba, meron silang power to choose and they're able to discern what's useful to them, diba, what resonates. May time na yung experimental cinema, yung time nila Broca, sino to, Oro Plata Mata, pinupuntahan ko yan. High school ako. Nagko-commute ako on my own. Hindi ko sinasabi yan sa magulang ko. Kasi sabihin ko pa, hindi ako papuntahin. I would watch things like that.
Pinapapasok ka nung high school ka sa ECP?
Yes. Pinag-uusapan yung excited kami. Kasi nga may mga European movies din, di ba? Yung sina Bertolucci, oh my God, sa akin, super exciting yung mga time na yun na, talaga, yun yung education ko, diba, na in the arts, yung hindi mapapantayan ng classroom, any classroom, that I had. Then, diba, sila yung Dr.
De La Paz.
Very famous nun
Bobby De La Paz.
Yes. Yan. And then si Makiling Dulag, yung mga ganyan. Talagang pinupukpuk yan sa amin na, hindi naman pukpuk, pero it's there, that we need to understand why that's happening, that it's not a good thing, etc. So, I was steeped in that kind of pero hindi naman ako yung pupunta sa kalye. Like, in college, naging teacher ko si Ben Cervantes, no? UP Rep, yan. Tuturo siya ng 86 to, tuturo siya, and then dahil nga ang daming rallies, pag sabi niya, punta kayo sa ABS-CBN. Hindi ako sanay na gano'n very in a way, although independent po, I can commute, ganyan. Hindi ako steeped in that activism na gano'n. I was fascinated. Nandun naman ang UP Rep, pag sabi niya, join the UP Rep. Somehow hindi ako na-capture nun But I understood what they were fighting for. And I attended, nung kasagsagan ng EDSA, lumalabas na talaga kami. Kasi nga yung rehearsal namin, as a group kami sumasama. So, nakikisama na ako. Masaya kasi pag madami. Ganun yung feeling ng EDSA eh. 86. Yun.
Tsaka isa pa.
Yeah.
Kasi, papansinin mo, lahat ng mga great works of art, hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, kung hindi sa labas ng bansa, laging may political idea or issue na tinatalakay. Yung mga pinakamagandang plays ni Shakespeare, ni Bertolt Brecht, kahit ni Tennessee Williams, laging yung pinaka-ano niya, yun yung kumbaga, yung pinaka-malalim at pinaka-significant ng nagawa. Laging may backdrop or mayroong konteksto na political. No? Maski dito, di ba? Diyos ko, panahon pa ni Rizal, yung dalawang nobela natin, di ba political yun? I mean, yung tradisyon ng nobela natin at saka yung mga dula ay ganun, in fact. No? Our golden age of Philippine theater, for example, may tutuldok mo sa mga pinaka-political na era, no, ng theater movement sa panahon ni Tolentino. Tapos nung nag-second golden age di umano, ayan na, nagsimula, mapapansin mo, nagsimula yan sa mga yung sinasabi ng propaganda, agitprop. Pero after that, yung mga sumusulat ng ganun, ang sinusulat nila in their, more mature one are really great plays that really also cannot separate from politics.
Malungkot lang dito is that up to now, di ba? Sabihin mo ganyan, di ba? Haba ng traditional. Up to now, yung mga companies where we work for, di ba? Even Rody, nililigawan pa rin namin ng mga teacher para papanoorin ng mga estudyante. Kailangan i-require nila mga estudyante, di ba? Para manood. That's really sad. And yet, di ba, you have blockbuster movies na puro romance naman. Or, di ba, mayroong ibang mga shows pupuntahan, but concerts, ganyan. Papakamatay sila para bumili ng mahal na ticket. Pero yung simpleng 100, 150 peso ticket sa mga palabas namin, for instance, pahirapan pa. And then may pandemya pa ngayon. I mean, we can't ignore that nandito na rin tayo. Diba? The fact that we can't make theater at the moment. I mean, we do online, pero magbebenta ka ba? Paano ka magbebenta ngayon na ang dami naghihirap? Diba? And so, do you let theater die? Kasi nga, hindi ka naman makagawa. Wala namang kailangan, basta may Zoom lang kayo, may paalam, okay na yun. Hindi ka makapagbuo ng isang production where you really pay people, pre-pandemic base. Kasi wala ka mabibentahan. So that's when government needs to come in and help. Kailangan mag-umpisa ka sa mga bata. Hindi pwedeng college lang. I mean, of course, kaya kami nandyan, sure, sa theater and fine arts and all of that. Pero, diba, the ideal thing is that people will go to the theater, go to the ballet, go listen to music, to a symphony, etc. Kasi gusto nila and they're interested. No, hindi dahil required sila diba, sa English class or Filipino. So paano mo ma-achieve yung kailangan i-inculcate mo yung, diba, yung value ng art at kultura sa bahay pa lang. But of course, papasok dyan syempre na ang populasyon natin hindi kaya ngang makakain eh. Diba? So, ako, sino ba kaya pumunta sa teatro? Middle class. Certain level of middle class mataas. Yung iba, hindi nila kaya. Kailangan bigyan sila ng libre. So, kailangan i-provide yun for them. Aside from the other things na dapat i-provide ng gobyerno. Diba? ganon. I mean, it's really as simple as that. Kailangan naka-integrate ang art sa lahat ng tinuturo. Hindi lang siya para bang, mga solo-solong subject na walang kinalaman sa iba. Naman pala kung tinuturo sa teatro, especially when yung mga GE namin na pwedeng pumasok yung mga theater majors. So, sabi ko, may engineering student, may poli-sci, may psych. Sabi ko, alam niyo ba lahat kayo, somehow, naka-factor yan in the whole theater making process, sa pagsulat, sa paggawa ng prop, sa pag-design ng sa costume, sa music, di ba? It's so complete ang theater na lahat ng areas, other disciplines incorporated doon somehow. And so hindi siya dapat hiwa-hiwalay na, di ba? Dapat yun na-appreciate as a whole, that it's really part and parcel of everything we do. As human beings, hindi parang some elite thing.
Yung problema, I think, yung na-point out mo sa educational system is that it's very commercialized. At dahil doon, yun nga, yung sabi mo, yung pag art education, art subject lang. So, 2 hours lang yan. After that, hindi ko na kailangang pag-isipan yan. When actually, integrated lahat yon. And in fact, the very proof of that is the theater making process na nga. Kung saan, it's a collective endeavor from engineers to soundmen to actors to writers, etc. Now, it's the compartmentalization of your education that actually makes it possible for you to ask a question, can art exist without politics? Di ba? Kasi nga, pinalaki tayo na dito, politics lang, political lang, dito, arts lang, ganito. And so therefore, lalo pa dito sa atin, ang privileged ay yung mga politician, yung mga engineer, yung mga scientist, at yung art, dahil hiwalay kayo, hindi kayo ganun ka-importante. And so therefore, pag nagka-pandemic, hindi kayo esensya. So it's the whole paradigm na sinasabi mo, na kung paano mo titignan yung edukasyon at saka yung pagtuturo at saka pagkatuto ng isang lipunan. Kapag hindi mo pinagsasama yon at nakikita yung pagkakaugnay ng mga ito, talagang ang tendency mo pagdating mo sa college, hiwa-hiwalay na yan. Ito lang ang major ko, and so therefore wala akong pakailam sa mundo. Kaya ka nag-aaral ay para maging parte ka ng isang workforce paglabas mo.
Huwag niyo kaming kalimutan pag yumaman. Tama na kayo pag tatanungin ko sila, ano bang background mo sa theater, exposure, yung mga non-theater. Puro sila Broadway, yung number 1 musicals na foreign. Wala silang masabi na they watch a local play or musical. Number 1, ito yung mga bumibili ng 2,000 sa 5,000 na ticket, mga ganon.
Sayang, naman ako sa isang Broadway play. Pagka-pandemic. Gago talaga ang Diyos.
Diba? Diba? Yun marinig mo palagi din. Yung pagpili ng course. Yung pa lang or even the way parents. Yung na kailangan dapat nasa computer, pakinggan sa computer, or abogado ka, or engineer ka. Yun lang yun napaka-miserable na ganun yung pagtingin sa arts.
Parang kumbaga a proper way or a proper time for that, wala.
I agree.
Lalong-lalo na pag nararamdaman mong when you're in a discussion that consciously tries to prevent talking about it, the more I am encouraged to talk about it. Kasi ba? Hindi naman pwedeng ano yun. Sabi, buksan mo yung pinto kasi talagang hindi. At bigyan kita ng example, no? There was a time, before with, again, Macbeth, no? Kasi si Fritz Benevitz, who is a director that we invite from East Germany pa noon, may East Germany pa noon. Gusto niyang gumawa ng isang play. Ang sabi namin, let's do something as Shakespeare. So yung sinuggest niya, Midsummer Night's Dream. Tapos noon, siyempre, dahil nga dito sa PETA, kami, panahon ni Marcos, namatay si Ninoy. Si Ninoy Aquino ang bangko dito sa outset ng play na ito, etc. So let's do Macbeth. Ang sabi ni Fritz at that time, pwede rin naman. Kanya lang, do you know that Midsummer Night's Dream is one of the most political plays that Shakespeare ever wrote? Siyempre lahat kami, wala naman kayo mga alang-alang. Ano kaya yun? Bakit kaya ganun? Until you realize that it is. And then, in fact, when he directed Macbeth, he wanted to...
Forest. Kaya sila nasa forest to begin with.
Dictator si Theseus. I mean, mga ganon, di ba? Pero nung ginagawa na namin yung Macbeth, we're always, as PETA, we were always trying to push it towards dapat yung hairdo ni Lady Macbeth kamukha ni Imelda. Sabi ni Fritz, no, this is not an allegory. We have to realize mas mataas, no? Yung political ideas na offer nito is much more than just the local experience. And in doing that, you get to see a different perspective of what is happening in your locality. Kaya talagang mas naging malalim yung pagtingin mo kasi hindi na lang ito lang tungkol kay Marcos. Tungkol ito sa ano yung nagbubunsod sa mga tao para maging diktador. So hindi na lang si Marcos yun. Marami sila eh.
It's always deadly to do that. Yung parang meron kang ina-approximate na characters. Kasi at this moment, ito yung mainit eh. Diba? So, masyadong topical yung approach. That limits the way you understand things. Pag-isipan nyo lang mabuti sa
Oo. Ganon. Magbukas pa ng isip, kung sarado, may mga ilang buwan pa para mabuksan ang isip. At pag-aralan kung ano yung mga... eto na naman ako. Alam mo, pag-election, may konting parang jaded ako or something, cynical actually. Kasi parang, ano ba to, ang democracy ba natin ay 10 minutes every 3 years lang. After that, sige, papaloob na tayo ulit sa tyranny. Parang ganun yung nagiging kwan. Ano? So, isipin natin na hindi naman sa eleksyon na lahat. Although importanteng karapatan siya, pero sana isipin natin na pagkatapos ng eleksyon, mas malaking ang task na dapat gawin ng bawat mamamayan to preserve it. Malay nyo, yung binoto nyo, hindi naman pala sumupad sa pangako. At based on our historical record, maraming ganun. Stay safe and healthy. Good. Magpapagyan mo naman ng ganon. Mag-wave ka naman. Stay safe and healthy. Goodbye. I guess that's time. That has been our Buffeteria Conversation today.